Have you ever wondered why black people are hated among all nations of people? I ask myself the same question. You would think that black people went into different countries all over the world and steal their natural resources and rape the women, kill the indigenous people, take their land, take other human beings as captives and make slaves of them, tell others they are inferior because their skin color is different from yours, also steal their identity so that they would never learn the truth about their history and who they are, label other human beings as animals and thugs because they are misunderstood. Did black people committed these evil deeds? Besides being black, what crime have a black person committed to make them hated among all groups of people? What wars did blacks initiate to bring pain to many nations around the world? Do blacks have a superpower nation that supports them when they are persecuted? Who's going to help them? Africa? A continent with many resources that is not owned by the people who live there? A continent that is populated by poor Africans? What about the Caribbean island? Majority of the inhabitants of the island is black. Will they stand up for their people when the Negroes are being killed in the streets? What army do the Caribbean islands have that can take on the superpowers of this world? The Caribbean people is in bondage as well. Who is going to stand up for the African American race? If multiple Chinese men was shot in the streets of America by cops, and the cops is put on trial and declared not guilty and freed according to the law of the elite government, I bet China will stand up for their people and declare war against America if they don't correct the injustice against their people. If Koreans, Japanese, Russians, Europeans, and Australians shot dead in the streets of America multiple times, the nations of these people will question the injustice and stand up for their people. What about the Arabs? If they are targeted and being killed in the streets of America, wouldn't the Arab nations of the world stand up and support their people? Who is going to stand against the injustice towards the Negro that is scattered among the four corners of this world? Black people is the only nation of people dwelling in every nation, as a lost sheep among the majority in the land. They are strangers on the land they live. Even if they were born on that land, the other inhabitants of the land will look at the black people and say, "You belong in Africa." I will disclose to you why you are hated by every nation of people. For you are a people holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you out of all the peoples on the face of the earth to be his people, his treasured possession. But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for God's own possession, so that you may proclaim the excellency of him who has called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Because of this special inheritance that you have, being the true descendants of Jacob, the other nations are fearful, and they hate you for your position with Yah, the Most High. African Americans, look how many nations conspire to keep you in the dark about who you are. Several nations live in your land, Israel, pretending to be you. Your name is Jacob. You shall not be called Jacob any longer, but Israel shall be your name. So he called him Israel. And God said to him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall come from you, and kings shall be born of your stock. The land which I gave Abraham and Isaac I will give to you, and to your descendants after you I will give the land. All the Negroes scattered in all nations, it is the Most High that is going to redeem you. Not humans, not a superpower nation with an elite government and army. Black people, when you read your true history in the Bible is your history because you are the children of Israel, the descendants. It tells you the God of your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, will redeem you. Look to Jesus for guidance. No matter how many marches you conduct, how many black leaders stand up for you, none of them will be able to help your condition. Only our Messiah. Yah said, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This is why every group of people in this world hates you. You are a peculiar people. You are God's chosen people. It is time that you wake up to who you are. Research your history. To all the Negroes, African American, colored people, black people that is scattered, what is your name? Israel. Israel is your name. Your name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for you have contended and have power with God and with men and have prevailed.
What's that? What you say? You can see that guy is simple. Looking like a retarded Bill Cosby. Oh, yeah, get this guy. Get this. Get this. Oh, hold on. Come on up here, man. Come on up here, brown nose. Come on up here, man. We love it when you coons come up here, man. Look at this goddamn, look at his face, man. No hair on his damn face, man. That's Nipsey Russell. Yeah, Nipsey Russell. Nipsey Russell on the Which one are you talking about? 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 The Messiah. The Messiah. The Son of God. The Son of God. You keep the camera on this coon right here.
If 4 bank employees in Stockholm, Sweden, can be psychologically traumatized after just a 6-day ordeal, it is logical to assume that a black human being who is traumatized by white supremacy racism from cradle to grave is by birthright a lifetime candidate for the Stockholm Syndrome. This is from page 124. Again, brand new book. Black Love is a Revolutionary Act. I read this passage, and it made me think of a lot of things. And I think that's, the purpose of quality reading is supposed to stimulate some thought in the reader, I hope. And I was reading this, and I just thought, wow, I went back to that term, Stockholm Syndrome. And I thought about it. And I mean, this is a relatively new term. I mean, they say, page 123, this term was coined by Niels Bejerot after the 1973 robbery. This took place in Stockholm, Sweden, 1973. So this term hasn't really been around very long. But it shows when white people see a problem, when they see something incorrect, they will make up terms to help describe and deal with that problem. And the more I thought about it, just the fact that white people made up this term, white people understand that it is incorrect for a victim to empathize with, identify with, relate to, or sympathize with their victimizer. I'll make sure I say that again slowly. White people understand that it is incorrect for victims to empathize with, identify with, relate to, or sympathize with their victimizer. And you can tell that white people understand that this is incorrect because of the term that they made up. Stockholm Syndrome, a syndrome that implies, it suggests, just by the words that they use, this is not logical. This is a mental disorder. This is a person who is no longer functioning in their own best interest. They are now identifying with someone who is mistreating them. This is incorrect. It should not be. They understand this is a problem. Just based on that logic, and more than that, they understand why this is incorrect. They understand how this can happen, the environment that can bring this about, and they understand that this is incorrect. When they look out and see us dressing like them, in bed with them, defending them.
Question of interracial marriage.
Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
come on, man. You're too smart for this. We got 43.
Smart for what?
We got 43 million black people in this country.
And that
we got
means
over
what?
190 million white people. You're going to sit here and say that if
Hey, you
a
got
black
half the
person
black
and a white
women.
person get married, a black person and a white person get married, one can't understand the other person's struggle. You've seen
It's not
you've
about
seen Tim Wise, right?
individualism.
You've seen
It's
Reverend
about
Wallace.
system.
If you ask questions to a white person and there are non-white people present, they will do a lot of interrupting and answering for that white person too. I've seen that play out, and especially if there's any sort of sexual engagement going on and you're questioning that white person aggressively or with suspicion, I've seen a lot of interrupting from non-white people.
I mean, to have the fortitude to call somebody that and then do it on camera, because you know you're being recorded. She knocked my phone out my hand. They formed the wall to protect her. That did hurt. Y'all gonna let this happen? What type of people are y'all? What type of people are y'all? You don't know me, man.
We don't bother. You're acting like a nigger. Oh.
You act. Keep saying it. What did you call my wife? Give me your name too. Give me your name.
Chemically mutilating our hair to look like them. When they look out and see the chaos that they have wreaked on us, brain trashing, that is precisely what they want. Exactly what they want. In fact, they understand white people need us to be identified with, empathizing with, sympathizing with them. That white identification is integral to the maintenance of white supremacy. That is the reason those films, Green Mile, where you got John Coffey, he is willing to save those two little white girls. All this talk about white people's, demographic winner and their fertility rates. That is, in my opinion, that is the reason that you keep seeing films like this, where non-white people willing to take care of and die for white people. They have got to have that white identification.
Yes, sir. This is something I promised Mrs. Bowie. Know what it is? No, sir. That's your freedom. You're a free man, Jeff. Thank you, sir. You better get your belongings together and get on over the wall tonight. It's going to be more than a little rough around here. Good luck, Jeff. Thank you, sir. Colonel Boy, you say I'm a free man? That's right. Well, if I'm free, then I got a right to decide what I'm going to do. Seems to me that's what you men are fighting for. So I reckon I'll stay.